Hello YouTube, this is Corn22 here, back with another 100-point squadron build for Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. This time, I've decided to create what I call a green squadron build. This build utilizes two RZ-1 A-Wing interceptors and a Corellian YT-1300 freighter. This build mainly combines the synergy of the Rogue Squadron build I had, as well as the all-around defense from the Gold Squadron build I used earlier. Here's how this works. The A-Wings, they're basically used as lures and distractions. They will target enemy ships and pretty much tag them and keep them busy, while the YT-1300 sneaks up and snabs them when they're not expecting it. And thanks to the YT-1300's all-around omnidirectional firing arc, it can attack from any direction, much like the YT-2400. With that being said, let's move on to their stats. So it's a pretty simple build this time. I would say a bit more simpler than the Gold Squadron build I used. Let's start with the first ship we have here, which is a Green Squadron pilot. He has a pilot skill of 3. He flies the RZ-1 A-Wing Interceptor. This one has an attack value of 2, agility value of 3, hull value of 2, and a shield value of 2. He can take on the Focus, Target Lock, Boost, and Evade action. He costs 19 squadron points, and he's able to take on the Elite Pilot skill upgrade and the Concussion Missile upgrade. Because this is a common pilot, it does not possess an ability. However, it can take an Elite Pilot talent, which is very rare for common pilots. So, what I've chosen for this ship is, for his weapon, I've given him cluster missiles. They have an attack value of 3. They can be used at range 1 to 2, and they state, spend your target log and discard this card to perform this attack twice. So what this means is, with cluster missiles, I have 2 chances to hit my opponent, each with an attack value of 3. So, say my first attack wasn't successful. I still get another shot, so I can re-roll my 3 dice and hopefully get a second hit with the second cluster missile. Pretty deadly combo. And for his elite talent, I've given him Predator. Predator is a pretty nifty and dangerous card to use against the opponents. It basically states, when attacking, you may re-roll 1 attack die. If the defender's pilot skill value is 2 or lower, you may instead re-roll up to 2 attack die. So what this means is, this card is best used against ships with pilot skill values of 2 or lower. This basically lets me re-roll my attack dice if I miss. So, in conjunction with the cluster missiles, what happens is I roll for cluster missiles or my standard attack. Any blanks or focuses that I get that I can't fix, I can immediately use Predator to re-roll that blank. And if it's a pilot skill of 2 or lower for my opponent, I can re-roll both my dice, or 2 of my cluster missiles. So this build makes it so that my Green Squadron pilot is very hard. It is a very accurate ship. It makes it very hard to miss. Combined with the fact that if you have a focus or a lock on, it's pretty much guaranteed. Pretty much whatever this thing shoots at, it's guaranteed to hit. Now for the next pilot, my second ship is piloted by Arvel Crynyd, however you spell pronounce that. He has a pilot skill of 6. He also flies the RZ-1 A-Wing Interceptor. Has the standard talents for an A-Wing: attack value 2, agility value 3, hull value 2, shield value 2. He can take on the Focus, Lock-On, Boost, and Evade actions. He costs 23 points, and he's only able to take on the Concussion Missile upgrade. His ability states, you may declare an enemy ship inside your firing arc that you are touching as the target of your attack. This means this A-Wing can do what no other ship can do. This A-Wing is able to target ships that are touching its base. So, say, for example, I move my A-Wing, I move Arvel, and then some guy does a maneuver that ends up with me touching, our bases touching. Normally, that means we can't shoot at each other because we're kind of right on top of each other if you look at it from a 3D plane. But with Arvel's ability, this makes it so that even though our bases are touching, I can still target him and he can't fire back. So it counts as a point-blank attack. For his concussion, this is especially useful for his secondary weapon, which is Proton rockets. These have an attack value of 2 and can be used at range 1. And it requires, rather than a target lock, this weapon requires a focus to use. And it states, discard this card to perform this attack. You may roll additional attack dice equal to your agility value to a maximum of 3 dice. So, basically what this means, the more agility value you have on your ship, the more attack dice you can roll. And which means the more damage you can deal. So, A-Wings have an agility value of 3. That means, combined with the attack value of this Proton rockets, it totals an attack value of 5. And added to the fact that they can only use it at range 1, this makes it, again, this ship, with Proton rockets attacking at range 1, and with the combined attack value combined with the agility bonus, it makes it, this thing is going to hit hard. And most likely it's going to take out all of your opponent's shields, and perhaps some hull they'll take some hull damage too if they don't have enough shields to block this attack. So, those are my A-Wings. These are kind of like my distractions for the main ship of the group, which will be Green Leader, aka Lando Calrissian. He has a pilot skill of 7. He flies a Corellian YT-1300 freighter. He has an attack value of 3, an agility value of 1, a hull value of 8, and a shield value of 5. He can take on the Focus and Lock-On ability. He costs a whopping 44 squadron points, so this guy's very expensive to bring into a squad. And he's able to take on the Elite Pilot Talent action, a Concussion Missile upgrade, and 2 co-pilots. His ability states, after you execute a green maneuver, choose one other friendly ship at range 1. That ship may perform a free action shown in its action bar. Pretty useful. There's only a problem though. Only two of Lando's green. Oh wait. Oh. Never mind. So basically, what this means is any green maneuver that Lando does, if there's a friendly ship at range 1, that ship can perform a free action included on its action bar. So that basically means that Lando has to stay close to his wingman in order for this ability to take effect. For his upgrade, or his title card, I've given him the Millennium Falcon. It can only be used in a YT-1300, which is what I have, and it states your action bar gains the evasion action. So this adds, basically that means now I have 3 actions to choose from. Because as you know, the Millennium Falcon is a very iconic ship. Sure, it can take a lot, but it's also one of the fastest ships in the Rebel fleet, ergo it is able to evade most other ships that evade a lot better than most other ships of its kind. Now, I was only able to give Lando 2 particular upgrades, but I think they complement this build pretty well. So, I've given him, for a co-pilot, I've given him Nien Numb, which was Lando Calrissian's co-pilot in the Battle of Endor. It states, you may treat all straightforward maneuvers as green maneuvers. So what this means is, it makes all of Lando's straight-ahead maneuvers green maneuvers, which gives Lando more options for allowing him to use his ability for his ships at range 1, for his other ships as long as they're within range 1. So that means as long as I keep doing green maneuvers, basically what happens is with Nien Numb, it makes pretty much more than half of Lando's dials green maneuvers, which allows me to take better advantage of his ability. And for his elite talent, I've given him Elusiveness. It states, when defending, you may receive a stress token to choose 1 attack die. The attacker must re-roll that die. If you have at least 1 stress token, you cannot use this ability. This is where the green maneuvers come into play. Nien Numb turns pretty much most of Lando's maneuver templates into green maneuvers, and with Elusiveness, and that means I can continue using Elusiveness on my attack phase, gain a stress, perform a green maneuver, remove that stress, and any of my A-wings at range 1 get a free action on top of their initial action. So there is some synergy involved in this. The ships need to be the strengths of this build is that with the cluster with the different upgrades that I have on for the A-wings, it makes it so that their attacks pretty much home in and ram into their intended targets. Combined with the many actions that the A-wings can perform in order to ensure that they get close to their opponent, yeah, nothing's going to escape from them. And then also because of Lando's omnidirectional firing arc, no ship around him is safe when they're trying to attack him. As for the weaknesses, they're fairly obvious. The A-wings, while they're fast and incredibly agile, they're still interceptors. They can only take a handful of hits before they are destroyed. So the key point of this build is to have keep the A-wings on your opponent's tails in order to prevent them from firing back at you. And with Lando, I'd say one of the biggest weaknesses he has is the fact that, well, he can't really evade that well. He only has one agility value, which means he's pretty susceptible to taking hits. But given the fact that he's pretty much a tank when it comes to defense, it's really not that much of a problem. Also, the elusiveness factor, well, actually, yeah, I actually add to the fact that the A-wings can't take much and Lando doesn't have that much agility. Those are pretty much it for weaknesses. So yeah, this is my Green Squadron build. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. Any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated. And as always, if you like, you can use this build. You can tweak it to whatever modifications you like, or you can completely revamp it into your own record. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. This is Corbin22, and I'll see you guys next time.